It's the Dave and Doc Podcast. Doctor recommended. Take only as directed. May cause dizziness, blurred eyesight, a sense of nervousness, anxiety, loss of sleep, diarrhea, a sense of wonderment, a new meaning of life, minor memory loss, and could cause VO in rare occasions.
Hello, hello.
Happy day, happy day.
It's Super Bowl Eve.
On a Saturday.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Right.
And now I'm glad we didn't bet.
We were close, my man.
Well, and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we were really
We're going to
close.
talk about it. I'm still a little bitter. I'm a little
you
bitter.
are.
I'm a little.
You kidding me?
But he is Dave.
Yes.
And I am Doc.
Yeah, it's the Dave and Doc podcast. All things Dave and Doc can be found at DaveAndDoc.com. That's Dave, AndDoc.com.
That's
you
right.
can watch us, listen to us, all the stuff there.
Comment.
And comment. Also appreciate all the folks who have been watching the podcast.
Yes.
Quite a few here just in
Yes.
the last few weeks. So
Burning it up. I like it.
we are, yeah.
It's the mannerisms, I'm telling you.
They just it's my what's it called? Smoldering. I do it with my eyes. I smolder.
Smoldering.
I'm smizing.
Oh, smizing.
Yeah, with my eyes.
Smiling with your eyes.
Yeah, that's. I think that was a.
I thought that was your fourth kid. I didn't know.
Only have 3. Shit, is there another
I
one?
don't remember the twinkle in your daddy's eye.
Oh yeah, well that's. I thought Lindsay had told you something she hadn't told me.
No. And basically every podcast will now have that henceforth.
Yes. Good Lord. So thanks, episode 41. And,
Yeah, man, 41.
And episode 41 right before 57. And that's the number of Super Bowls we have witnessed as a society, and I'm very excited.
You and I have not.
No.
We've been around for a lot of them.
I have actually seen them all at this point.
Now,
in
that's
my
pretty
life.
cool.
Yeah.
I have not watched them all. I've seen clips of everything, obviously, through different.
I have watched the entire.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of a football fan, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I had heard that about you.
Yeah,
I had heard that.
So I've watched them all. So the two things that I've watched I've seen every episode ever of Saturday Night Live and Super Bowls.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
There's 2 Super Bowls I've only watched once though, and that was live. And I will never watch those again ever.
Oh, the power's out.
Yeah.
And we started Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
And then we had to run up against one Patrick Mahomes
Yeah, and that was
from Texas.
I mean, and again, you got a 10-point lead with 6 minutes left in the game. You kind of think,
But you didn't have Patrick Mahomes.
but you didn't have Patrick Mahomes. So
You had Jimmy.
that one, I can actually live with that one a little better than the other one.
I understand that.
That was the other.
Yeah,
one
that was really
totally ridiculous.
Yeah, would have been a different trajectory for Alex Smith's career.
Absolutely,
Had yeah,
because he would have had a ring.
that's correct.
Yeah,
That's correct.
oh gosh.
That's correct.
Thanks, Jim Harbaugh.
It's all right.
but,
He's going down. They broke rules. They're gonna get in trouble.
Of course, I mean that's
I mean, everybody does, but and then he lied to the NCAA. You know, they've got. I'm like, have you heard of a guy named Bruce Pearl? I mean,
Yeah,
just
right.
tell the truth. It's much better.
It is.
if you'll just tell the truth. But when you don't tell the truth, whoops, going down. Anyway,
It's like
like you can deny it, and but if they have any proof,
yeah.
like a
Yeah.
picture of, Aaron Kraft at Bruce Pearl's house, on the date that he said he wasn't there, it's like, this is actually time stamped, and this is the date you're saying he wasn't there. I think we've got you. Wah, wah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to just tell the truth.
So with the Super Bowl in mind, and we've got a lot to get into, I'm going to do some Super Bowl dad jokes.
All right,
And I hope you enjoy these because I know you are a connoisseur of all things football.
I am.
And so this is kind of another little feather to put in your cap. Okay.
All right, I'm good.
Do you know why millions of Chinese would not be able to watch the Super Bowl this year?
Why is that?
Because the U.S. shot their spy balloon down.
Oh, God.
What do you call 50 guys watching the Super Bowl?
50 guys watching the Super Bowl. I hope this is the Dallas Cowboys joke, but go ahead.
The Detroit Lions.
Oh, yes. Yes. I was say, what do you call 53 millionaires watching the Super Bowl? The Dallas Cowboys.
What's the best place to watch the Raiders in the Super Bowl?
What's that?
The History Channel.
Yeah, I figured you'd like that. Waka.
What do the Super Bowl and a doctor's office have in common?
Oh, no. What's this?
Aaron Rodgers won't get a shot at either. That is probably my favorite. But there's
awesome.
but there's
That's awesome.
Good ones. Now, oh shoot, I lost it. No, there's one in here. I can't find it now.
Poor Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, not really.
He got the one Super Bowl
He did.
like 10 years ago.
Oh, this is bad. What kind of tea do Super Bowl football players drink?
What's that?
Penal tea. That's terrible. There was I thought there was a Dallas one on here. Sorry, I was going to do that one just for you. There's a longer one. Hang on. I swore I thought there was one in here. I guess it's not. Anyway, it's okay. All right. And the last one. Okay, this is a little bit longer one. Okay.
All right.
Okay. A man and his new wife agree to attend every Super Bowl. The woman dies after 43 years, but the man continues their tradition by attending the next Super Bowl. Another man in the same row notices the empty seat next to the man and inquires, "Why is this seat vacant? Isn't it the Super Bowl?"
Right.
And the man replies, "Well, it was my wife's seat, but she passed away." To which the other says, "Well, did you not want to invite anyone else? Any family?" And the man responds, "I did, but nobody would come with me." The other man remarks, "Man, that's tough. Your wife dies and they wouldn't come to the Super Bowl with you? What did they have to do that was better?" The man looks at the guy and says, "Well, her funeral was today."
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Oh, man.
that may or may not be something that I would do.
Right. I'm like, and the bad thing is somebody out there has thought about that. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And the last one, who's the smartest player ever to win a Super Bowl?
Oh, God.
Tom Brady.
Lord. Good Lord. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So it's.
Did you see his thirst trap photo? Did you see that crap?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Apparently, supposedly he lost some kind of bet and he posted it. It was him in his like boxer briefs, asking Gronk and Julian Edelman, "Did I do it right?" That's it. Thirst trap from Tom Brady.
no, thank you.
I'm surprised you didn't at least hear about that.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about, and I was cracking up.
I think when I hear the name Tom Brady now, I think I just
you're just
shut
like,
down.
you know what? I'm good.
I just shut down.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
I'm done with him. I did watch his interview with Colin Cowherd.
Yeah.
Talking about retirement and everything. And the more I watch the interview, I'm like, I really just don't like this guy. Like I just don't like. He doesn't seem overly genuine to me. And I mean, he might be the nicest guy on earth, but again, when you mess with Joe Montana, that yeah. He was a part of those. He did. That's true.
Just saying.
Lost to the Giants twice and the Eagles.
Really special.
Yeah, so it should have lost to Seattle too. They're morons.
And I was reading, you got it. Was it first or second and one? First and goal, second and goal at the one. Was it first and goal or second and goal at the one?
Second goal.
So second goal at the one.
Yeah.
And that's Marshawn Lynch 3 times. And if you don't win, if you can't score,
then that's just
then you didn't deserve to win the game.
Yeah, 100%.
I just think it's so funny because Russell Wilson's terrible.
He is terrible.
He's terrible. And I mean, and here, you know what's going to happen? Sean Payton's going to get rid of him.
Of course
They're going to find a way. Oh, we're going to resurrect him. Yeah, you're going to resurrect him just enough to get rid of his butt.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen.
Sean Payton coming there was the worst thing that could have happened to Russell
Oh,
Wilson,
absolutely. And
gone.
I love it. Because I still like the Broncos. And I'm like, get him out of there. Just do whatever you got to do. He's terrible.
Yeah.
And Seattle looks brilliant, don't they?
Yeah.
Seattle looks brilliant. And it just speaks to, you called the pass play probably because that guy's ego's so big.
Yeah.
Instead of giving it to beast mode.
Yeah. I don't.
I love that Sean Payton was like, I'm not familiar with somebody's personal coach being on the sideline. Oh, we're not going to do that. And he just straight up said, take that, Russell, and your stupidness.
I just think
Gosh.
like this year, if the Niners had made it to the Super Bowl and they're down on the goal line, it's 2nd and goal, Shanahan's running that thing.
That's right.
3 straight times.
That's correct.
Without question.
Bill Belichick is running that 3 straight times.
Of course he is.
That's just the way it is with their running back by committee that was successful for years. Right. But no, you throw a pass play and Malcolm Butler, you make his whole career
Right.
by getting that pick.
Gosh. But yeah.
Anyway, we're moving on.
Good job, Seattle.
Moving on.
Seattle will not be.
Could have sent it in a different direction. One more thing, because at that time, Patriots are 3-2 in Super Bowls,
That's true.
and that would have put them at 3-3 instead of 4-2, and nobody ever doubted like what was going to happen after that.
Yeah.
And they go on to get 6.
They were 0-2 at one point in time.
Well, right.
Yeah.
The Bears,
The Bears and the Packers.
the Packers. Yeah, I forgot about that.
We'll talk about.
Or was it the? Yeah, it was the. Or was it the?
It was the Packers. It was Drew Bledsoe.
That's right. Yes. Yes. Because they
It was Super Bowl 31.
who beat? I'm confused now. Patriots beat the Rams. Yes. Yes. Twice, right? No.
No,
Just one.
Just once.
Who
no,
did- who
no,
did-
twice.
They did beat them twice.
They did beat them twice.
Yeah, because Kurt Warner. Because that was
they were like 20 years apart. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Okay, that's what I thought.
right.
Yeah, because Kurt Warner and them won, and then they lost like the next year. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, Dyson came up 1 yard short from the Titans.
Yes, for the Titans. Yes.
and of winning that ball game. So yeah.
Anyway, there it is. There it is.
There's some football history for you. And it'll be football history this weekend, too, as the Chiefs and the Eagles play.
First time 2 number 1 seeds since about 2017 or so.
It's been a minute.
It's been a few years.
It's been a minute.
16-3, both teams, which is impressive.
It's impressive.
The Kelsey brothers, it's the Kelsey Bowl.
Yeah, of
Mama brought them cookies during the. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's to hell with both teams. Listen, it's hard for me. It's hard for me because I've never not been a Philadelphia fan. You know what I mean? Like it's like I've never like just said I hate the Eagles,
I understand.
and I really haven't.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
I mean, when Andy Reid was there, they went to like 4 straight NFC championships. Finally got there and lost to the Patriots in the game.
Yep.
Donovan McNabb just got a little tired at the end of the game.
Yeah, like no urgency at all.
Yeah, like that was
You're like,
just-
what are you doing?
that was ridiculous. And now it is kind of cool that Andy's going to be. It's full circle for Andy Reid, right? Like if he wins this Super Bowl, he's like, I beat the team. They fired me. And I came to Kansas City,
Yep.
and now
and I know Philly got a ring, obviously, with Doug Peterson and
Nick Foles
and
yeah.
all that. I mean, Zach Ertz and those guys. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I mean, they still don't. I'm interested to see what happens.
the Niners Eagles game. I've had some time to digest that now.
It's kind of good. My voice left us. So we couldn't have too much pregame hype or I guess aftermath. The aftermath.
I was, there was a point in the game where, it just kind of sets in. We don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Christian McCaffrey was literally just gonna be single wing and whatever happens happens. Like that's what I thought it was gonna be.
And like it's like what do you do? And I'm like, this game's over. And the defense actually played really well.
Oh, they played phenomenal.
until the point where they were like, okay. And like Shanahan started pulling starters, and he's like, "We're done." I mean, like,
and they were exhausted too,
Of
because
course.
I mean, the amount of effort it just sucks because I mean, Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt. I'm still going to always believe that that's a different outcome of that game.
I felt like
I
felt like going into that game, and I was very nervous about it. But I really felt like going into that weekend, I'm like, the 4 teams that are left, I think the 49ers are the best team in football.
Yeah.
Overall, and again, we'll never know. And there's probably Eagles fans that are probably also SEC fans.
That's right.
That'll tell me something different.
Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts. Devontae.
Yeah, I mean well, you came from Alabama, so it just means more,
Right.
Well,
That's
I mean,
it.
he
That's
left
it.
Alabama too.
That's it.
But they kind of
He actually kind of got run off.
kinda got run off from Alabama.
which I mean, I'm pretty stoked for him in that regard because he basically got run off.
Coach's kid seems like he's really down to earth. Doesn't get overly excited about anything. It's hard not to.
Seems to be improving his game, which I also really like that. I'm like, hey, this is impressive.
Yeah.
Because I think that was one of the knocks on him. They're like, he's not going to be able to adapt more than what he's already doing at Oklahoma. And he really has.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I can tell you what I think the final score is going to be.
Okay, so you're going to go first this week. Okay.
Sure, I'll go first.
Kelsey.
I think that Patrick Mahomes' injury is going to be a bigger deal
this week.
That high ankle sprain that takes like 6 to 8 weeks.
Though he did, I don't know what they did to him. I mean, so we didn't even talk about the Kansas City game.
That's true.
That was totally a personal foul. It was, and that was, Osai or whatever, but how about that he actually got the wheels going with his ankle and all that and was actually motoring. That game stunk. I really wanted the Bengals to win.
Oh, I did too.
Anyway, so
but
then they just. So the score. So here we go. So we're getting into it.
I think that
Mahomes is going to be a mess.
I think Mahomes is. I think there's the injury's a bigger deal. And just watching Kansas City against Cincinnati, and then watching the Eagles and the way they play defense.
Yeah,
I don't think Kansas City can win this game. I think that the Eagles are going to have to come out, and Jalen Hurts is going to have to play terrible for them to lose. I think it's 31-17, and I don't. Yeah, I just.
Ooh.
I don't think the Chiefs. I've watched the Chiefs a lot this year, and I know they played the Niners when Jimmy was when our second string quarterback was playing, because we've had all of them play. And we looked terrible in that game and everything, and the Chiefs looked good, and then you look at how good the Niners finished up, and you're like, well, look what the Chiefs did to the Niners. Like, I don't think that would have been the same thing if they'd played again.
No, I get you.
But just watching the Chiefs, and particularly watching them against Cincinnati, I think their run is over. Like, a few years ago when they played the Niners in the Super Bowl, I'm like, that team's impressive. That is a hard team to defend, but now I just don't.
It's pretty crazy because if you think about it, it's 4 AFC championships in a row.
That's right.
3 out of the last 4 Super Bowls. And so if you don't win this one, you're actually going the wrong direction.
Yes.
Even though, and part of that is Mahomes isn't staying healthy because he's getting beat up. And so then you look at that for longevity sake, and you're like, gosh, how much is that going to affect him?
Yeah.
As he starts slowing down. Because, other than Tom Brady's, he's, some stuff, but other than his ACL tear, he actually stayed pretty dang healthy.
Yeah.
By making good decisions. Look at Peyton. Peyton had, 4 neck surgeries, and that, he couldn't feel his hand basically, and that's what did him in.
Right.
His body just couldn't take it anymore. So you just wonder about that. Travis Kelce looks as good as I've ever seen him look. Which is crazy. Of course, the women just swoon over him, which is crazy.
Of course.
That TikTok thread where he's like, "Hey, baby girl," talking to his brother's little daughter.
Yeah.
Apparently, it blew up, went viral on TikTok. All these women were going crazy about it. Anyway, but
he's a jackass.
I'm rooting for Philly. I'm rooting for Jalen Hurts, which is funny because I was like, who's going to root for Philly? And I was like, nope, I'm going to root for Philly. Going to be interesting. It's a crossroads for the Chiefs because you think about you're like 3 Super Bowls out of 4 and you only get 1.
Right.
You're kind of dialing the wrong way.
That's right.
Now, still impressive, but it's also LeBron-esque. It's like, hey, yeah, you made it to 1 billion finals, but you don't have more rings than MJ. You don't have more rings than Bill Russell. And you ain't never going to get more because, even though you're doing all the records and stuff, you're too dadgum old. It's just not going to happen. But they're aging out and Mahomes is healthy and staying up. So, yeah, I think Philly's going to get them.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to be a closer game. I do. I think actually it's going to be a situation where it comes down. I think Harrison Butker has a chance to win it, but misses it.
Oh.
And yes. And so I am predicting.
Is it wide right or wide left?
It's going to be wide right.
Yeah. Okay.
In honor of Florida State.
Yeah, we did have one wide left in there. God.
I mean,
You talk about the SEC meaning more.
'Cause I'm just
we
saying,
would have probably
SEC,
had 3
SEC.
more national championships had we had a better kicker. I mean, that's a fact. With a better
not that
kicker,
somebody's bitter, but you know,
three more national
to
championships.
be the man, you have to beat the man. And wide right does not beat
That
the man.
goalpost is unforgiving.
It's going wide right. So Butker's kicking it wide right, and I think it ends up being I think it's 20. I think it's 24-23
Oh wow!
Eagles.
Woo!
24
Tight game.
24. Yeah, I'm serious.
I'd be happy with that.
Mahomes drives them down. They have a chance. Just like what he did this last week or 2 weeks ago. Against Cincinnati, has a chance, but he misses it this time, and the Eagles win.
I think that
And they play Fly Eagles. Fly.
I think it can be. I think it will be a close game in the first half. The fact that Kansas City can't stop the run, I just think it just gets them.
I'm fine if Philly beats them, I'd be fine with 2 touchdowns. But I think
as Philly doesn't score more than 55 points, I don't care what the score is, as long as the Eagles win. Because I hate the Kansas City Chiefs. I do like Andy Reid, but I hate the Kansas City Chiefs.
you gotta like Andy Reid. That's true.
Yeah,
But I want the Eagles to win.
I'm tired of Patrick Mahomes.
And that whole thing with Nick Sirianni and Andy Reid, that's bullcrap. There's nothing there. And I mean, they're trying to make. He snubbed him. And Sirianni even says, no. He called me in man to man, into his office and said, "Hey, I've got a guy that comes with me and coaches the position that you're in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you're kind of the odd man out here." There was none of that trying to. No, there's and they put that all in on ESPN and all that mess. I was like, that doesn't even sound like anything bad. He had a man-to-man conversation with him and told him, said, "Hey, this is my coach," and nobody gets mad about that.
No.
They're like acting like there's some kind of he's against Nick Sirianni. No, he's not.
No, Andy's probably the nicest guy on earth. I mean that
busting out some rap,
God.
right? He's like Master P.
Speaking of ESPN,
As I said it.
you said ESPN.
I mean, we went wide right, and now we've got ESPN. Two of you that'll get you amped up for weeks.
And so I wasn't watching ESPN, but like just part of my YouTube algorithm is like there's stuff there, right? And so they were talking
You're a closet
to
ESPN watcher.
I am not. they were talking to Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
And Mad Dog Russo was on there, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple observations here. Mad Dog Russo, somebody needs to do some well checks on him. Something's not right. This guy had no idea who Deebo Samuel was, pretended that he did, and then started talking about stuff like, "Hey, I know you return kicks all the time and everything." No, he doesn't. Ray McLeod returns kicks for the 49ers. Deebo Samuel does not. Kyle Shanahan's not putting Deebo Samuel back there returning kick. But he said it in a way then I saw you guys you were back there returning a kick, and I'm like, oh, now it's serious now because we got to get some points. And Debo's like, yeah, we were losing and we had no quarterback. You what? And then Stephen A. Smith Stephen A. Smith tries to be so emphatic with everything he says. And he tries to be so.
Did you know?
He uses words that are 19 syllables long, right? Like he's using all these, all these words that I don't even know if he knows what they mean. And he's always so precise and everything. And he kept saying the AFC Championship. Stephen A., it was the NFC Championship. That's the conference the 49ers play in and have played in.
I was like, been that way for a minute.
Since
it's not new.
It's not new. And so I'm just, and again.
So you were really having fun.
This was 5 minutes of
ESPN.
YouTube, and I'm like, God, this is why I hate ESPN. It's just total.
Upset. It makes Dave Moore.
It's just
like Yoda.
Right? Bullshit it is. That's what it is. But here's the thing, and I'm not going to get on a rant with ESPN because God knows I could go. But I was just thinking about this the other day, and you could tell me you agree with me or not. But I was thinking about ESPN when I was a kid and I was growing up, and I remember watching Chris Berman and Tommy Jackson on Sunday night. NFL prime time.
That's right.
There was no real commentary. They just told you the facts of the game, and they would give you some opinion.
But that's not what people want now.
And you're right.
It has to be, everything has to be sensational.
And it's like, it doesn't have to be.
That has given
so
somebody
grandiose now. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's just so hard to watch when it's,
But that's what grabs people.
Porn star Jimmy.
People love, right? People love that stuff.
And it's like,
they love that stuff.
I just want to say, former deadbeat divorced Stephen A. Smith. I mean, let's call you that. I mean, what a jackass. I don't know. I'm so over ESPN and just I'm over some of these sports shows to begin with. Like, it's just so stupid. I mean,
Well, and they've taken the place. I mean, Sports Center used to go basically like all day.
Yeah.
And it was just, and so that they've thrown in these other things, and it's just for sensationalism to kind of get you amped up, get you hyped up, get you stirred up. I mean, it's made a career for Stephen A. Smith, made Paul Feinbaum even more popular than he already was amongst the SEC.
Let me tell you what I think about Paul Feinbaum.
SEC.
He's just so, that guy. Listen, if there's
where'd he go to school? That's right. Yes, he did.
If there was ever a guy that just has a permanent erection for Southeastern Conference football, that's the dude.
Well, yeah, but that's what he does.
I know, but like he can't.
Oh, it's totally biased. Oh no, it's like Dickie V calling an ACC game, particularly a Duke or a Carolina game. It's like, good heavens!
You know what the difference is?
Need to cover you up with a towel.
You know what the difference is? I like Dick Vitale. That's the difference. Paul Feinbaum. I mean, it's just,
I love me some Dickie V. It's hard not to. Come on now,
he's awesome.
It's hard not to like Dickie V.
Dickie V's awesome.
This is
dude knows basketball.
Yes, he does.
Dude knows basketball.
Yes, he does.
I don't know that Feinbaum knows football. I would be here's.
That's a good. Well, probably X's and O's. Yeah, but
I'd be happy to have a conversation with Paul Feinbaum.
It's a good question. He's obviously very intelligent. I mean, it's not.
I don't think it's a matter of
Dickie V played, coached. All the things.
He just lives basketball,
right? And he's lived basketball, right? I know.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I would not feel comfortable having a conversation with Dickie V about basketball in that respect.
Yeah, like coaching it out, coaching. He'd eat your lunch.
Oh, he would.
Yeah, and he'd eat my lunch too.
He can show up right now, and I will be unprepared and talk to him about football.
Man, we need to get Paul Feinbaum on the show.
Yeah, I have no problem with that at all.
I wonder how much that would cost.
I don't know, but I can see me saying something like, "Hey, how do you think Ohio State will do this year?" Paul Feinbaum will go, "Wait a minute, who's Ohio State? What? They're not. Are they in the SEC? Exactly. Thanks, Paul.
Do you know what it would have me saying?
What?
SEC.
It just means more. SEC. It just means more, Doc.
SEC. SEC.
So last week,
my Vols making me mad in basketball. Just
2 weeks ago, we were talking about ambulances, and we were having some fun, and it reminded me of a story. And I think I even talked about it a little bit, but I actually went and got the audio from this. This was so a little bit of a backstory here. I'd never heard this story, and a guy named Mike that used to work with me when I lived in Virginia Beach told me the story. And you guys don't know Mike. There's no point of reference here, but I'm just telling you, any story this guy told you was better because he told the story.
I see.
He was so animated and just one of the funniest human beings that I've ever been around in my life.
Kind of like Stephen A. Smith, but the difference is you like Mike.
I like Mike. Yeah. And Stephen A. Smith's a jackass.
Like Mike. If I could be like Mike.
I talked to Michael Jordan last night.
Mike.
He is a personal friend of mine, and he sleeps in the same bed with me, and we were rubbing each other's feet. And he told me, Stephen A. Smith. So
don't throw Jordan under the bus like that.
That's no Jordan. Listen,
that's terrible.
You're right. I'm sorry, Michael.
Yeah, Michael would never.
MJ will listen to this podcast. What the hell's wrong with that guy?
Oh, he'll cause it. Did you? We keep digressing. Did you see when Charles Barkley told about the conversation, their last conversation?
Oh yeah.
And he said basically Jordan was just like MF or F you, and that was the end of the conversation. And they hadn't spoken in over a decade.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate competitor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So anyways, keep going because the ultimate competitor, we got to segue into that because we're going to talk about the 12 QBs.
Yeah, this is, I was going to say this at the beginning of the show. We usually go on for about an hour and a half. This one might go long. I mean,
we may never, we may just be, sweating it out. Having a urinal.
So my friend Mike told me this story, and here's the thing: I'm going to play. It's a 911 call about a gentleman who hit a deer, and if you've never heard it, it's hilarious. Now, here's what I would recommend. I recommend you looking this up and listening to the actual call that's unedited. You're going to say, "Well, Dave, why would you play the edited version?" The reason I'm playing the edited version is because of the profanity. That's it. I don't have a problem with profanity, but I know a lot of people listen to the podcast. I'm trying to be nice, and I'm trying not to say, shitty words like that. Waka waka. But like, I mean, it's pretty bad. But I encourage you. As a matter of fact, I'll let you listen to it after the podcast. It's hilarious.
Radio edit.
Radio.
So the FCC won't let me be or let me be me. So let me see. They try to shut me down on MTV, but it feels so empty without me. I know you want a job, Miss Cheney, but your husband's heart problem's complicating.
I thought we were going to go Kid Rock because that was in the song, one of his songs. They said radio edit.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw him in concert.
My name is Kid Bob. Mother's name is Bob. I'm like, what?
My name is
Bob. See it.
So anyway,
it's Bob, baby. It's Bob.
This guy hits a deer.
This is so
and he gets
bad.
to a payphone and calls 911. Now, listen, I don't know if this was a real call or not. I have no evidence of that. Here's all I know. I just know this shit's funny. That's all I know. It's about 2 minutes long. And it is one of the funniest things that I've ever heard. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready, and I have never heard this in any form or fashion. So,
I love the fact that I get to play this for you.
This is
I'm very excited.
The guy. This is a 911 call. Guy hit after he hits a deer.
He hits a deer, and that leads to the 911 call.
Okay.
But a lot of things have ensued since the deer.
Okay,
there was a lot of action. Right. So.
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go.
Ambulance.
He calls it a Bambalance. He needs a.
Of course
Bambalance.
he does.
Of course he does.
Of course he does.
Gosh. Let me make sure. I coded this a different color so I could see it. So.
Are you sure you're not colorblind?
I mean, I am. There's red and then there's other colors. Hey-o! All right, here we go. 911 call, Bambalance.
All right, here we go.
Who is this? This is the ambulance emergency line. Do you have an emergency? I need a ambulance. Who is this? Joe. Okay. So where do you need us?
Joe.
I'm in my phone booth. Okay, Joe, I need a location. What street are you on? I'm in my phone booth at the stop and go. Yeah, that's it. I'm at the stop and go. Let me tell you what. I'm going down the road, driving my car, minding my own business, and a deer jumped out and hit my car.
How dare that deer?
Okay, sir, are you injured? Let me tell you. I get out and pick the deer up. I thought he's dead. I put the deer in my back seat, and I'm driving down the road and minding my own business. The woke up and bit me in the back of my neck. They bit me and it done kicked the out of my car. I'm in the phone booth. The deer bit me in the neck. A big dog came up and bit me in the leg. I hit him with the tire iron and I stabbed him with my knife. So I got a hurt leg and the deer bit me in the neck. And the dog won't let me out of my phone booth because he wants the deer. Now who gets the deer? Me or the dog? Okay, sir, are you injured? Yeah, my deer bit me in the neck. Hold on. The dog is biting me. Hold on. Get out of here. Hold on. The dog is biting my ass. Hold on.
Oh, God. I'm so... It's one of the greatest...
Hold on. The dog was biting me.
Let me tell you.
Who is this?
Are you injured?
Let me tell you.
Let me tell you.
Yes, I've been bit. I don't think that's real.
I don't think it is either, but it's great.
Yeah. The deer bit me in the back of the neck. Can you imagine? Now, what makes me think it's not real? Put it in the back of the car.
Yeah.
Right. That's what got me. Now people throw. They have the roadkill grill bill here.
Yeah,
in Tennessee, you can throw that sucker up on top of your car, strap it down, and go clean it up and have some jerky. See it.
Well, there was a buddy of mine once who said he called me when he got home. We were doing radio together.
Did he hit a deer?
No.
He
But
needed an ambulance?
so there was a deer involved though. So he calls me and he couldn't stop laughing. And I'm like, dude, what is it? And he goes, man, listen, I'm on my way home. And he said, I watched this guy slam into this deer, right? And he says he gets out, like traffic is kind of stopped, and it's like his deer's laying in the road dying. And he said this guy gets out, looked at his car, and just drives off, right? Like, screw it, right? I mean, I guess his car, he's like, what do you do?
And so, ain't nothing you can do.
And he says, and so like as traffic is going, he said, here comes this truck going the other direction.
Oh, no.
And they pass it, slam on their brakes. Two guys get out, grab the deer, throw it in the back of the truck, and go. Only in America.
Oh, living in America.
Smack that deer right
Smack
in the face.
that deer, grab it up, throw it in that big old truck.
So there's Bambalance. I'm glad I got to be the person to
Like
let you listen.
Bambalance, like Bambi.
Bambalance.
Some people.
I need a Bambalance.
I need a Bambalance. Wait, my dog. Hold up. My dog is biting me. The deer hopped up and bit me in the
My
neck.
tire iron. I stabbed him with my knife.
Stabbed him with the tire and stabbed him with a knife. Now, yeah, I got the deer. He wanted deer. Who get the deer? Me or the dog? Me or the dog?
I love that.
Wow.
That's so
I need a
great.
Bambalance.
Oh my
Oh.
god, that's one of my favorite things ever.
That's awesome.
So, completely shifting gears here.
I was like, you can't really.
There's no segue.
I don't know. Yeah, we're bad about the segues.
This episode brought to you by Venison. Venison.
And like a good neighbor, Farm Bureau is there.
And speaking of insurance, which reminds me of the Green Bay Packers, which reminds me of Bret Favre. Woo! Look at that. That was a reach, wasn't it? That was a reach. Professional broadcaster, folks. So Bret Favre. So this way. So for those of you who don't know,
And be careful because he'll sue you.
yeah. Well,
Apparently,
that'd be kind of cool to get sued by Bret Favre.
I don't know about that.
Well, listen, I'm an owner of the Green Bay Packers.
Well, that's
He
true.
better.
I mean,
come on.
truth.
I'll yank that Hall of Fame jersey right
That's
off
right.
of him.
That's right.
I'll
That's it.
make a phone call.
I mean, that's some serious stuff.
I own a whole
Some serious
share of
stuff.
that team.
You know,
So he's in. There's some controversy because allegedly, he was involved with a welfare scam, and I don't know that I completely understand it, but it appears that like they took money that was intended for the welfare system and appropriated that to help him build a gym or a volleyball gym for his daughter who coaches at a college.
she was playing ball there.
Oh, okay.
She was actually at Southern Miss play, and that was part of it. But yeah, I mean, they were allocating for a new facility, and then he was lobbying for it.
I see. Okay.
And I mean, I think where he's really in the doo-doo is, I mean, he obviously was the money. Like there's messages stating potentially where those funds are coming from, and I think there are messages that he had fired back forth, and it potentially seems that he did actually know where the money was coming from.
And even
So he's in hot water over that, and he's in hot water for taking money for speeches and stuff that he didn't show up to.
Yeah.
that allegedly are from those same types of funds.
It's like the episode of it's like The Sopranos and the no-show jobs.
Right.
I mean, that's what it is.
That's it. And,
Yeah.
and so you're sitting there going, "Oh my!" And then it's I don't know. But it basically it looks like money that was supposed to go somewhere else was reallocated for athletic funding and also personal gain.
Well, they said that there was even a text message that they have from him. And again, this is allegedly. I haven't seen this, and I don't text Bret Favre often.
That's right. That's right. Nor
or-
do we have his
or ever.
phone or the phone records.
But what the investigator said, the person who like leaked this whole story, which is like some kind of private, it's not like a mainstream news media outlet or something.
Right.
Said that there was like at least one message, and I'm probably getting this wrong, and if I am, I apologize. Please don't sue me, Bret Favre.
This is paraphrased.
This is paraphrasing.
It's a paraphrase and a summation.
It was basically along the lines where one of the texts from Favre said something along the lines of, or something to the effect of, "This can't get traced back to me," right, or something along those lines. And again, I mean, listen, there's there's probably different versions of this and maybe Favre, maybe he didn't know what was going on. I don't know. But I mean, if you look back at his career, I mean, here was a guy who was addicted to opioids. He sent a picture of his junk to a reporter
from Florida State.
Yeah, go Knowles. It just means more. I have no idea what the hell that means. But I mean, so he's not been a squeaky clean guy, and that's what Shannon Sharp said, bringing this full circle, because Favre is suing the auditor of the state of Mississippi.
Yeah,
and he's also suing Pat McAfee and Shannon Sharp.
Yeah,
specifically
for
defamation of character, because they made money on talking about him. And again, what McAfee said was a lot of this is like, McAfee's like, hey, we were just talking about it. We used allegedly. Shannon Sharp did not use allegedly.
No, and you know what? Shannon Sharp doesn't care.
He does not care. He just absolutely does not care.
Shannon Sharp does not care. And I mean, here's the thing. That happens. Anyway, it's so stupid. It's just so stupid. I mean, and what are you doing? And you're suing the auditor of the state of Mississippi.
Right.
Now, I mean, you can make all kinds of Mississippi jokes, okay?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could. It's just the way it is. I mean, we also live in Tennessee, but I mean, you can make these jokes, but that's a pretty important job, and it's you know, it's not something you just kind of jack around on, you know. And obviously, they found the error, and that's when they started investigating what was going on, and then led back. I mean, it's multiple layers of corruption. I mean, here's the thing. The politicians should have known better than to give in to Bret Favre. Right. I mean, that's another problem, is where it just shows you where the money goes, because they're the ones that actually were appropriating the funds. Right. It's not Bret Favre. Bret Favre's lobbying for it and knows about it, but those people actually reallocated the money. I mean, somebody's going to prison.
It was a $5 million grant.
Somebody's going to prison.
From the Mississippi Community Education Center.
And that's just, it's just for that.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to jail.
And so
somebody's going to go to prison for a little bit, not bad.
It was approved by the state attorney general. Favre is still denying that he knew, that he had any knowledge that the grant money came from a welfare
where
fund.
it came from.
Right. And maybe that's completely true, because I like Bret Favre, but I can tell you this: I
like Bret Favre as a football player.
I've never sued anybody for defamation of character, because I've just never really given a shit.
No, not yet. Just not yet. Not yet.
But what Shannon Sharp, I mean, he went on a tirade.
He did.
For about 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and basically said Favre's always been a scumbag. I mean, that's what he said, essentially. And
I mean, you're right.
He threw a lot of factual stuff. And so I lend a little more credit to Shannon Sharp, and I don't know if what he said was true or not, but Shannon knows some of these people personally. I know Stephen A. Smith says he probably does too. I was playing golf with Bret Favre this morning on a cloud over Tahiti. But Shannon Sharp, I mean, he knows and has played with these guys before. So, it's kind of like, talking to, reporters when they say, I have a source with the organization or whatever. Right. It's usually a player, and they know what's going on because they know what's going on in the locker room.
Right.
So there's a little bit of credit there for Shannon Sharp. Now, again, I don't know if that was just his personal belief of Favre or if he knew something, but I mean, he basically said, this guy's been a scumbag. This is not surprising to anybody who knows Bret Favre. And that was, when he said that, I'm like, dude, you might get sued for saying that. And now he is.
Guess what? There it is. He's totally getting sued. Defamation of character. It's but he still doesn't care.
Oh, no.
And I mean, obviously something was not correct.
Sure.
And I just find it, I always say, I'm like, I realize plausible denial is a thing.
Right.
But, Bret Favre's not an idiot.
No.
I mean, he's not stupid. Maybe I should say he may be ignorant to some things, but he's not stupid. You're like, okay, You really gonna tell me you have no idea where any of this money just magically appeared? It's not like they had a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
And obviously you have a little history there of him doing some shady stuff. That reporter's name was Jen Sturger, by the way, just so you know, just for your FYI.
That's right.
Don't you like that?
I did.
Because that's the kind of reporter I am. You don't have to be in radio for that, folks. But you know where you have to be a graduate of the SEC.
That's right.
SEC. SEC just means more.
It just means more. It just does. It just does. It has more syllables.
So the bottom line of this is, Pat McAfee was just having fun with it. He was just like, like, whatever. He's like, basically, F this. I don't need a lawyer. I'll see you in court myself, and this is going to be laughable.
He was excited about the deposition. He's like, hey, do you think we can broadcast the deposition live? That'd be great.
Oh, yeah. He ain't worried at all because, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's just, and like I said, the auditor was like, hey, or the I guess the state attorney general or whatever, the new one or whatever person they can make the statements was like, we would like to point out that Mr. Favre has already paid back a substantial portion of these funds that were allocated to him. And it's like, wait a minute. Nobody said anybody was guilty, but in the world when you settle, or if you pay it back,
right,
that pretty much in the people's court says you are admitting guilt.
Yeah,
So, and again, I'm not deciding that and I'm not saying that, but why'd he pay the money back if he didn't do anything
wouldn't
wrong?
this have been so
Because
much...
I'd have been like, whoa. Oh, I did my speaking engagements. I did the things I was supposed to do. This was the agreement for what I was going to get paid. I'm not giving you that money back. What are you talking about? I did the work.
You put your foot down in the beginning. Instead of
you don't just pay off a big old chunk, and he still owes him however much money.
I don't know.
Yeah,
wouldn't this have been so much better if it had happened to Tom Brady? Wouldn't it have been so much better?
He'd have been having to do all kinds of thirst trap photos to raise money.
Tom Brady, jackass.
Have you ever done a thirst trap photo, Dave?
I don't think I have.
I have not. That would be let me put it this way. It would be very not so good. Not so good.
There's apparently a new thing on TikTok.
There's not enough lighting in the world to help my pace itself.
There's a new thing on TikTok. Lindsay and I went out to dinner last night, and got a couple sandwiches.
Good place for sandwiches, Sunrise Deli in the halls.
That's right.
Delicious.
It is.
Always,
it's really good.
Always get my order right. Food's delicious.
It's really good. Yeah,
it is really good.
Good food there.
Yes. So just advertising that.
She was talking about.
I think y'all got the Il Steakarones though.
We got a couple of little steaks and at
the Chris's Ruth.
At the Chris's Ruth.
Yep.
It's great experience there too. By the way, it's never a bad experience there.
Do you know anybody that's ever had a bad experience there? This is honest truth because I do not.
I don't.
And I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I don't
know.
I don't think it happens.
Or
if it did, they made it right, and that's why you never heard about it.
Yeah, it's just it's.
Or Ruth stepped in and just you ended up in the concrete.
That's right.
Could have been that too.
You're a permanent fixture. But
concrete shoes, cyanide, TNT, done dirt cheap.
So while we're sitting there, we're talking, and Lindsay said, "Hey, there's this new thing on TikTok where people are telling each other, like couples are telling each other what their icks are. Icks.
Oh,
like what they don't like about each other.
Oh, thirst trap,
and it's called icks.
Oh,
and I'm like, this is
you didn't fall for this trap, did you? Not the thirst trap, but the ick trap.
No, well, so
you did.
So
you
well,
did, you did.
I did, but it was like little stuff, right? Like
okay.
it was like
okay.
Lindsay likes to turn every light in the house on, no matter what. So like, if she let's say she gets ready to walk down a hallway,
yes,
and then decides not to, she will still turn the light on to go down the hallway, even though you can see, like in the middle of the day, she turns lights on, and like does
she turn them off?
Oh, of course not. No, that's my job. I'm the one that has to come back and turn them off. Yeah, and it's just it annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah, every light in the house.
And again, I'm a
play a song. It's every light. It's like open the eyes of my heart, Lord.
I'm a tech
leaving
guy.
Every light on.
So
we want to see light and run up the light bill.
And that's the thing. So like, I'm a tech guy, so all of our bulbs are.
You blew up all our bulbs.
So, I
we
mean,
can't even see in the darkness.
we have, I mean, they're all LED, so it's not like it's expensive.
I understand. I
It
get
just
you.
drives me absolutely nuts. My camera is, I'm going to do this. Sorry, folks. You're going to see my hand for a second, and there it goes. It unfocused for a second there. So
You were fuzzy.
I was fuzzy. I got a little fuzzy.
It's got the beer goggles on.
Oh, what? That's
The camera's got beer. What did you feed it?
somebody out there is going, well, he's really attractive.
Hey,
So, I mean, we were
he
talking,
ain't icky.
but Eddie, but
Icks. So,
yeah, we're talking about Icks, and I don't know why I even brought that up, but
because you went to the Roost Chris.
we went to the Roost Chris,
You're talking about so the thirst trap and the Bret Favre Icks
and then the Bret Favre,
and his
and, then,
package of Jen Sturger.
and it would have been much better had that happened to Tom Brady. And speaking of Tom Brady and quarterbacks, you sent me something.
I did because so this week because I know how to get Dave fired up because it's always a better show. So I found an article this week, and it was talking about if Patrick Mahomes wins, if the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes win the Super Bowl because he doesn't do it alone,
Right.
he will be an elite company because he will only be the 13th quarterback in NFL history to have 2 Super Bowl rings, to win 2 Super Bowls.
Right.
Which is pretty phenomenal if you think about it.
It is.
And so the article ranked the other 12, the existing 12 quarterbacks that both have 2 rings.
That's right.
And so I sent it to Dave. I might pull my phone up to cheat just a little bit. So I sent it to young Dave because I was like, I know young Dave. And I knew I had a feeling because I didn't look at it at first. I was like, I have a feeling who I think the top 3 are going to be.
Of course.
And I was correct.
Yes.
Now, personally, I think it's it kind of hurts me to say it's probably right, but some of that also is because I just like seeing you get pissed off. So
I'm glad my anguish brings you so much joy.
So I'm going to read them.
Okay.
And then I thought we could talk about it.
Sure, absolutely.
I think that's a good way to go, right?
I think that's perfectly fine.
So there are 12 of them. Okay,
I may or may not have opinions on something.
and you can do whatever you want. Whenever you would like to interject, my brother, you can interject. You can be as loquacious as you want to be. We can commiserate.
Can I be verbose?
You can be verbose. Yes, you can. You can be terse.
Hey, we
You
sound
can
like
be, you can be whatever.
I can be curt?
That's what.
Can I be
yeah,
curt?
That's right. Yes. Ooh. Yes.
Can I be sardonic
Ooh.
with maybe a little melancholy flavor?
Oh yeah. Totally.
I
Yes.
went to college.
That's it. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. There you go.
And I did not go to the SEC.
SAT. That's it. All right. So number 12 was Jim Plunkett. The former Raiders quarterback was named MVP of the first Super Bowl he played in, which was a 27-10 win over the Eagles.
That's right.
In 81. He later led the Raiders to a win over Washington. He finished his career with 164 TD passes and 198 INTs, which is wild. Yeah, he kind of had to be 12th.
And he played for the Niners too, right? Like
Briefly?
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah.
The Plunkett guy ended up in.
Wasn't he? He was either 16 or 18 too in his playing time.
I think he was.
I guess he was 18 maybe because he wouldn't have been 16 because obviously.
Well, that would have been before Joe. So,
I guess so. Yeah. So yeah. How about that?
yeah.
Bart Starr. I was a little surprised Bart Starr is number 11, but it's also in a different era, so obviously his statistics weren't flashy.
That's true.
But the Hall of Famer won 2 titles with Packers. He had 152 touchdowns, 130 INTs. This is different. Okay, Bob Greasy. Mm-hmm. Now I think this is
one of those was from the undefeated team.
That's right.
Yeah.
Beat the Redskins 14-7 in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then Super Bowl 7. Got to beat the Redskins, beat the Vikings.
They went back to back, right?
They did.
won,
They did 7 and 8. Yeah,
that's right.
And, obviously, one of the few times that's happened. That the 49ers have done it. Patriots did it. Dolphins did it. Packers did it. Steelers did it twice.
Broncos
did it. Yep. Yep. So so elite company there.
Yeah.
I probably would have put Bart Starr over Bob Greasy. Bob Greasy had Mercury Morris and Larry Zonka. Anyway, that's
yeah.
And Bart Starr actually had more titles, didn't he? Because didn't they win some NFL titles with Bart Starr?
Yeah.
Before they won Super Bowl.
I believe it was several.
So that ought to actually propel him higher, in my opinion.
I would think so.
But it's beside the point.
Yeah.
Eli Manning, number 9. Again, I would put Bart Starr above Eli Manning.
The thing I always say about Eli Manning when I see him on the list is the guy is undefeated in the playoffs.
True.
Never lost a playoff game.
But could hardly ever get there.
But only got there twice.
Yeah, but could never get right.
That's
right.
true.
This is true.
Not as good as his brother, who I'm sure is on this list.
Oh yes, Roger Staubach, number 8.
Yeah,
that's probably legit.
Veteran too.
Yeah,
Military vet.
NFL legend, Navy man. Yes, Ben Roethlisberger, number 7, won a pair of titles very early on, I might add. And of course, they say may have had a few more if not for a guy named Tom Brady. I think I disagree with that. I never was. I mean, Ben was tough, but I never felt like I don't know. He just doesn't.
They won that the Super Bowl that always comes back to mind for me with them is when they played Kurt Warner and the Cardinals. And there's no reason on earth they should have won that game.
Agree.
I agree. That crap fell in their lap.
Catch and everything. Yeah.
And I mean, and yes, it was a catch. I'm not disputing that.
Right.
It was a catch. It was a touchdown. But it's just like, James Harrison returns that interception, a zillion yards for a touchdown. I mean, things happened in that game that had not happened to Arizona all year. And I kind of felt like Arizona was the better team. And again, I mean, at the end of the game, they look at a scoreboard, and that's how they determine these things. And they did win.
But the breaks went their way.
But the breaks went their way.
It was a perfect scenario for them to win.
And the Packers were blowing them out at one point, and they came back in that game.
True.
And made it a game, and then the Packers ended up winning. Roethlisberger. Yeah, I mean, it was early on in his career.
You meant Steelers. What were you talking about?
Yeah, Packers, Steelers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're talking about their other one. Okay. I thought we were talking about the Cardinals still, and I was like, I'm confused.
No.
I got you. Yes.
Yeah. So
correct.
And so he lost that one, and then that was it for Big Ben.
That was it.
A lot of playoff games.
Kind of went the other way. Yeah.
Played the Patriots a couple times, and one of those times probably should have won the game. But anyway, yeah.
Troy Aikman, number 6.
He's got 3 rings.
He has 3.
The Super Bowl.
Gets the nod over Roethlisberger because he has one more ring.
Super Bowl 27, 28, and 30, as a matter of fact.
And he had some legends on his team too. Just a little bit.
Some Hall of Famers,
Smith,
Crazy, Hall of Famers,
Crazy Michael Irvin,
and a great coach in Jimmy Johnson.
That's exactly right.
So,
how about them Cowboys?
God,
how about them Cowboys?
Losing to the 49ers.
That's right. Right. That's it. Terry Bradshaw's number 5. I really think this is purely because he has 4 rings.
So here's something that I'd forgotten about Terry Bradshaw. I was talking to Don Starnes this week or last week sometime, and we were talking about quarterbacks, and we were talking about this list, and he reminded me, because Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls back to back, and then they skipped a couple years, and then they won back to back again. I'd forgotten about this. Bradshaw actually called his own plays. I totally forgot about that.
Well, then I didn't know that.
So it's one of those things
that probably does bring him higher up because that was pretty much unheard of.
It was.
Peyton kind of championed that where it was like, we're going to have 3 plays and Peyton just adjusts to whatever the heck's going on.
Yep.
Or he just calls it himself. But I forgot that. So, no, I didn't know that, I should say. Well, so I'll take that then. I'd say 5.
He also played with some legendary players too, and a defense that was just nasty.
Yeah.
So
the steel curtain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean, but that's if he was calling his own plays, I get it. Number 4, and I John Elway. For a pure quarterback with 2 rings, I think that's probably pretty appropriate.
Went to 5 Super Bowls?
Went to 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah. Went to 5, and one of those, unfortunately, was against Joseph.
I mean, lost to the Giants, lost to the 49ers, lost to the Redskins, which in the 80s, I mean, perennial powerhouse every year. One of those teams was just on it.
Yeah.
And so
almost like Florida State in the 90s.
And got
SEC fans.
Right? And was never really close in those games.
No, they
got hammered. I mean, Rich Carlos missed like a 19-yard field goal in that game against the Giants, and it was just no good. It was
55-10.
Right.
Super Bowl.
When in the 24. Redskins, what was it, 49? It was 48 to something. Yeah. It was a blowout.
It was Mark Rippon, right? Rippon was dropping dimes.
No, it was Williams.
It was Williams.
It was Williams.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Skins won a few years later against the Bills. Yeah. The Giants beat the Bills. The Giants beat the Bills first, then the Skins, And then the Cowboys beat them
Twice.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
God bless Buffalo.
I know. And they just couldn't get.
They just no.
And they don't have and I love Josh Allen, but they don't have Joe Burrow. So there you go.
Yep.
Peyton Manning's number 2. Now
he's number 2.
Sorry, he's number 3. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I misspoke. I'm looking at 2 because he won 2.
Oh,
and thank goodness he won the second one because for him to be left out of probably some decent conversations because he only had 1 ring. But he he only has 2 titles. Now there were a couple years there. If they had beaten New England.
Yeah,
they probably would have won the Super Bowl.
I agree.
He should have had another Super Bowl with Indy. Now, if that had happened with Indy against the Saints when they should have won, if Hank Baskin can catch an onside kick that's kicked right at him and he's a wide receiver, they would have won that game. But he can't, because he's thinking about Kendra, what's her name, the Playboy Bunny.
Right.
Anyway, how'd that work out for you, buddy? Anyway, so Peyton's number 2, and. I always have trouble because I do think for what it is, just the pure quarterback position, I still just love him to death, and it's his injuries jacked him up a little bit, but just the cerebral nature of things, I think
he really evolved the game.
Yes, and I think that there needs to be more credit for that. The problem is that these next 2 guys, it's kind of hard to, it's kind of hard. I'm just saying it's kind of hard. So
now I'm assuming we're going to get to the fun part.
So number 1 and number 2, 2 men enter, 1 man leaves is number 1.
Yes.
Drum roll, please, as my girls would say. Number 2, survey says Joe Montana.
Yeah.
1-4. The former GOAT, they referred to him in this article.
Oh, those assholes.
Won all of his titles with the 49ers, a team the number 1 guy on this list grew up loving as a kid. And number 1, folks, Tom Brady. 7 Super Bowls is just wild when you see it there in bold. Brady has since retired and is busy posting thirst pics, but when he was playing, he was better than everyone else.
When he was playing, he was better than everyone else. I don't know that that's necessarily true, but again, I'm very biased. I don't hide the fact that I'm a Niners fan. If you watch the podcast, there's no way you would not know I'm a Niners fan. But the problem that I have with it is
well, there's layers to what the problem is.
First of all, here's a compliment for Tom Brady.
Oh.
Here's a compliment.
Hold up. What time is it? Hang
Tom
on.
Brady, right? Do you need to mark this down?
It is 3:41 on February 11th, 2023. Okay.
For the talent that Brady had in his career on offense with the Patriots, not Tampa. They loaded that team.
Yes.
But with the Patriots, for the talent that he had, I mean, we're talking about a team that at one point in time had Troy Brown playing wide receiver and defensive back.
That's correct.
And return punts.
That's correct. Does Deebo Samuel return kicks?
Oh my God. This is Mad Dog Russo, and
I'm pretty sure he's alcoholic. I'm just convinced.
Mad Dog?
I'm pretty sure.
I hope he is.
I mean,
I hope
Mad Dog. Some Mad Dog 2020.
So Brady did so much with not as much talent.
Lots of turnover and right, but that was kind of the Patriot way.
It was the Patriot way.
Running back by committee.
It was schematic. I mean, it was
strong defense.
Yeah,
play smart football. Awesome kicker.
Right. And we're
kickers. Gostkowski and Vinatieri, but
Yeah.
Vinatieri was obviously the most clutch kicker of all time.
We're going to throw the ball in 2 seconds. We're not going to give
right. He's not going to get hit.
He was probably still is very accurate. And the guy has 7 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah,
I get it. Here's where
and several records too, and he did play over multiple decades. I don't know if you saw that the Baltimore Ravens 30 for 30, any of that, but Trent Dilfer was talking smack about him. Like he played in the decade where you can't touch anybody. It's like he was playing when you were playing there, Trent. And he got, and I mean, I know the rules have changed, but I mean, Tom Brady did transcend over like basically 3 decades of football.
But there's also so to what Dilfer said is one of the arguments that I have with Joe Montana, because I think Joe played in a time where you actually had to be physically tougher because you're going to get hit. It's not a question
they weren't calling anything off.
No,
that's why he had so many concussions.
Yeah, I mean, Joe got hit. I mean, it was just you hit the quarterback every play.
Yeah.
And it's okay if he's already thrown the ball. And I think you had to be tougher. And I think there was
Trent Dilfer.
But not Trent Dilfer, for God's sake.
That's what bugged me about it. I was like, shut up. I was like, Trent Dilfer, hush.
But what I will say...
Joe Montana.
What I will say is I do think it was harder to play that position then. And I also think some of the things, and there's no way to quantify this without really doing some deep research, and this is me getting a little deeper into football here, folks. But the rules changed in a lot of ways. The rules have changed now, and it was because of Manning and Brady. That's the reason the rules got changed. You know, Carson Palmer starts a playoff game and tears his MCL, and that's the end of the Bengals. And I think they were the best team in football that year.
I agree.
Brady gets knocked out for a season, and so they really started changing the way you could touch and hit quarterbacks. That's one rule. What we don't ever really talk about is how the game progressed offensively. Mm-hmm. The rules on what constitutes pass interference now is absolutely insane. And again, a defensive holding penalty. Even if it was
illegal contact 5 yards down the field, if you touch them, basically, you could call it. Now, here's the thing: you could come back and say, "Well, that happens every play. They just don't always call." Same thing with holding.
Sure,
But anyway, keep going. Sorry, I interrupted you. My apologies for.
But so like the rules changed.
Truth.
So a lot of quarterbacks, not just Tom Brady, but a lot of players have benefited by the fact that 20 years ago, it just wouldn't have been a catch. And it was just incomplete. And you're just...
Ronnie Lott just took your head off.
Yeah.
Chuck Cecil just took your head off, and you're going to the hospital, and it was just an incomplete pass.
Dick Night Train Lane.
And nobody got fined.
Murdered you on the field.
Right, that's it. And nobody got fined. You're sitting there, your arms like this. Your leg is snapped into 500 different pieces. It's no penalty. It's just a hit.
It's so for me, and then
I get it.
Joe's only in 4 Super Bowls. He wins them all.
11 touchdowns, no interceptions.
No interceptions.
Just to point that out.
No interceptions.
Yeah. I mean, in the biggest stage, played phenomenal ball.
And again, he drove a team 92 yards to hit John Taylor on a little skinny post route in the back of the end zone to win a game, and was as cool as a cucumber the whole time. And that's, I mean, at the biggest stage. I know Tom's brought teams back from, I mean,
look at the Falcons game. Good grief. Right.
But, so I don't, the fact that they played in 2 different, because it's always going to be, this guy won 7 Super Bowls and whatever, and Joe won 4. I get it. I mean, if it's a math problem, then that's easy. But still, would Tom Brady have been able to survive playing the Giants every year? Go into these conference championship games against teams that were, I mean, the Giants were brutal defensively. The Bears were brutal defensively. The Redskins in the 80s were brutal defensively. So I don't know. I just, no, first of all, let's just be clear.
There was so much NFC dominance. I mean, it was NFC just dominance.
I think they won like 13 straight Super Bowls.
It was insane. So you also have to look at it from that standpoint and say, think where all the dominant players were at. They were in the NFC.
I just
great coaches.
Again, I don't like Tom Brady. Here's what I can tell you. Had Peyton Manning won 7 Super Bowls, I would be more okay with it.
I understand. And I think a lot of people would agree with that
because he's just a likable guy.
Well, and not just that, but I mean, from pure quarterback, I will always believe that Peyton Manning was a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Well, as a pure quarterback, look at just what the QB can do as a QB.
Right.
Peyton Manning is better than Tom Brady. Tom Brady has more rings.
Yeah.
But you're just not going to convince me that Tom Brady was an actual better quarterback than Peyton Manning. I just don't believe it.
I would agree with that.
I mean, And again, I think different era. I mean, I think a Peyton Manning would have fared much better in that decade than Tom Brady. Now, would he have held up with his health? Because obviously he had neck problems and things like that. You don't know. But I think his. I don't know. I think he would have been. I think he would have been better.
There's also the thing that just I'm a Niners fan and it pisses me off. So there is also that because
so I read an article, talking about the Niners. I read an article also. Wright Thompson did a story on Montana. And he was talking about just because Joe now has a venture capital firm.
Yep,
and they're doing really well, obviously. And it's pretty basics. Like he doesn't have a bunch of crazy like memorabilia or whatever, but just talking about his competitive edge. And he's talking to his wife and talking to Joe's wife, that is, and. She's saying, he has that great just light up the room personality. And then he has the everybody's out to get me, chip on my shoulder personality.
Right.
That's really hard. And he's in an interview he's talking about, and he kind of trails off. And he's talking about what might have been, and he's talking about after the 90 season when they lose to the Giants in an NFC Championship, and he had by far probably his best year. And he's talking about how they just let him go basically after that. Like there was no competing for the starting job. He's like, you're out. You got hurt again. We're moving on. Steve's the guy. And so if they don't do that, I mean, what might have happened? So say he gets 5 Super Bowls. Say he gets a 6th one. Maybe we could actually get 2. Steve got 1. You would think, okay, if Joe was still there, he would have gotten one of those.
Oh yeah.
So then I think it just morphs the conversation. But you just wonder.
Well,
so a little bit of a raw deal, a little bit of, and it still bothers him to this day.
Well, of course it does.
And it just doesn't sit right because because it's the ultimate competitor, the ultimate winner, and you don't let him actually compete for the job.
It's tough.
You
for
just
me.
gave it to Steve.
It's tough. It's tough for me because I'm a huge Montana fan, and I still think he's the greatest quarterback to ever play. But during that time, he was hurt so much. Steve was playing a lot of these games. And there was a contention in the locker room that
it needed to be Steve.
It's like, this is Steve's team now. And here's Steve Young trying to be, a nice guy about it or whatever. And he was, Steve was like, hey, I just want to play. Like, I'm not trying to. He said that he and Joe never had a crossword with each other.
I believe that.
He said that. He said that like they're still friends now. It was, and again, trust me, nobody on earth felt worse about, other than Joe, I guess, when the Sports Illustrated article says Kansas City, here I come, with Joe with all of his rings and MVP trophies and stuff. That made me sick to my stomach, and it still does. It still hurts.
And I think if he had, I don't know why 5 just sticks out, but say if he'd gotten that one that Steve got, of course, Steve Young deserved a Super Bowl, obviously. And Steve he had another ring. It's just he wasn't.
I was going to say that with this list, Steve's actually got 3 rings.
So that's actually a good, that when I just now thought about that in my head. I guess they're saying starting quarterback then.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So, right, because obviously I'm sure there's some journeyman quarterbacks, not Steve Young, but some journeyman quarterbacks that may have gotten more than one ring because they were backup or whatever.
Yeah.
So, that's true. Steve probably need to be on that, but I guess it's saying because he only started the one.
He did, yeah.
But still kind of cool to have multiple rings.
Through 6 touchdowns, which is a record.
Right. Oh, yeah. Phenomenal. Oh, no.
49-26.
And again, it's nothing against Steve Young.
No, I know. I get it.
I think the way Seifert and them went about it, I just don't like it. But that's a business. That's why I hate the Colts. I will never root for Indianapolis Colts. I don't care if they draft Hendon Hooker out of the SEC.
It does mean
better
more.
not. They better not.
It does mean
Sorry,
more.
my leg is bugging me. I don't know why. They better not draft Hendon Hooker. I'll be sick as a dog. I'll be happy if he gets drafted, obviously. But
the Colts though. That wasn't an easy decision for them either.
I think it was very easy for that alcoholic, womanizing, gambling, weapons dealing, piece of crap Jim Irsay. Yeah, I do.
All that's factual, but
right, we're not getting sued on that because it's all real.
That's true. But you think it wasn't
bag full of money, guns, and cocaine in his car? No, sorry, opiates in his car.
You think that was an easy decision for him though?
I think so.
Really?
Yes.
Because that's a
don't get.
That's a big deal. Really. You think about being in a meeting.
He gave up on him.
Of course. Well, yeah.
He gave up on him.
He didn't know that Manning would ever be back.
He gave up on him.
And Manning did what David Letterman did. He went across the street and started his own show.
He gave up on him.
So
and that makes me mad.
No,
Just like I mean, I guess George Seifert in a way, and I guess they just kind of give up on Joe. They're like, you're hurt too much. Steve's played the majority of these games the last couple of years. It's his show.
Steve had a better passing record or rating.
Sure.
Steve
Young's phenomenal. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Steve brought a different dimension to the team.
He's phenomenal. And I love Steve Young. So I was never really I've gotten more of a Joe Montana fan here in the last couple of years. I think just in us having more conversation. Because I think a lot of times I didn't see a lot of that because it's West Coast ball,
Sure.
and I'm at church and that game's going on or whatever's
right.
So my mom didn't like him because he'd been married 3 times or whatever. And my dad hated Notre Dame. And so it was just like and he didn't like the 49ers. So it was like, I don't like Notre Dame. He played Notre Dame. I don't like the 49ers. He plays for 49ers.
You want to hear something that drives me nuts about Tom Brady.
Poop on him.
And they talk about what a low draft pick he was.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what he can do? Let me tell you what he can do. He was the starting quarterback at Michigan. It's not like that's a university that, just nobody knows about, right? It's Michigan. It's the University of Michigan.
True.
And then he goes to the Patriots and he takes over.
I'm going to breed out Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, and it's like, whatever. It's like, dude, you've had a charmed life. Joe was the 3rd string quarterback at Notre Dame.
Again, chip on the shoulder, man.
And 2 people had to get horribly disfigured and injured for Joe to come in, and they won a flipping national championship.
True.
Joe earned it, worked his butt off.
True.
And so when I hear people talk about, well, Tom Brady was a low draft pick, you know what you can suck. Let me tell you right now. I don't give a crap about it. He was a late draft pick. Okay. Michael Jordan got cut from his junior high school basketball team.
Sophomore year.
Was it sophomore year?
Year.
Whatever.
And then he grew, and then he
shattered
became all of Laney High School's scoring records.
And then he just
in 2 years.
Then he became Michael Jordan.
And then when he hit the shot against Georgetown, the time shot Michael Jordan.
I still remember Craig Elo in that game against the Cavs. Ruined
his life.
It did. It just ruined his life.
Ruined his life.
It's funny.
And you know what the problem with that was? He should have face guarded him and never let him get the ball. The whole problem was you let him get the ball.
Yeah.
I don't care what you have to do. Do not let him catch the ball. And they inbound it right to him. He comes straight across there at the top, just inside 3-point line at the free throw line.
What a shot.
Fading to his left.
Yeah.
And Elo just... I mean, I was like,
Jordan's
wow.
pumping his fists, and from a distance, it looked like he punched Elo.
Yeah, you almost think, oh my gosh, you just knocked out Craig Elo.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's one of the things that always bothers me about Brady when they talk about, he's had to fight and for all this stuff, and I'm like, you married a supermodel. You're a flipping millionaire.
Yeah, but if he hadn't won all that stuff, he wouldn't have been dating Giselle.
That's true.
Giselle. Giselle. I don't know.
I'm such a Niners fan,
which I like Bridget Moynihan better anyway.
She's gorgeous.
Just so you know,
she is gorgeous.
He's anyway. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Well, I mean, at least he's got a souvenir from that relationship. Hey-o! Not like he just ran out on her or anything.
Oh, right. I know.
Is exactly what happened.
Wow.
But I hear that, and Tom was such a late draft pick and all this stuff. I mean, okay.
No, Joe earned it. And that wasn't, I don't think, like I said, my dad just didn't like Notre Dame and he didn't like the Niners for whatever reason. I think it was because he was probably a Cowboys fan and he was and he was an AFC fan.
If you're a Cowboys fan, I totally get it.
Right. Yeah. And so I think those two things, between being more of an AFC guy and liking the Cowboys, you're not going to root for the 49ers. That's just the way it's going to be. But yeah, I think they both earned their way.
Yeah.
Different paths, so to speak, but still had to earn it. And both, holding that chip on their shoulder statistically.
Sure.
I think that's hard because it's a different era.
You want to know?
I mean, and to be fair, probably more weapons with Joe.
Oh, of course.
I mean, you only had the greatest wide receiver, the undisputed. I mean, nobody's ever going to take that title away. I just refuse to believe, even with today's game where you can't do anything to him. But Jerry Rice played in the hardest time.
Well, you remember he got Jerry Rice just like 4 or 5 years ago. They ranked the top 100 players of all time. Just players, not at position, and Jerry was number one.
I mean, how could you not, right? So throw that out the window.
Yeah.
Right? And then you've got John Taylor, obviously a skinny post, getting them that touchdown, getting that victory against the Bengals.
Brett Jones, Roger Craig, Tom Rathman, a great offensive
John
line.
Frank, who after they won the which Super Bowl was that? It would have been.
It was against the Dolphins, right? So that was 19.
Was it? No, I think it's after they beat the Bengals. I think he was around for the Bengals because he left. I'm pretty sure it was after they beat the Bengals. He left and went to Stanford for medical school, and he's an orthopedic surgeon now, I believe.
Oh, wow. How about that?
Because I'll never forget the Sports Illustrated cover article because I
cool.
thought that was pretty cool.
It is
and
cool.
It's got him, and I forget if it was like a half and half, like football gear and half like a med student outfit, or if it was, but it had like the human skeleton and had him like leaned up against the wall,
that's cool.
like saying he's going to leave because he wants to go be a doctor. He's achieved everything professionally in football world, and he's going to go be. And he's as far as I know, he's an orthopedic surgeon.
Who wants to be a doctor? Sounds like a terrible career. It's gross.
Just Vistaprint.
Gross anatomy.
Vistaprint.
Gross anatomy.
We can talk about gross anatomy sometimes if you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Probably not today.
No,
but we've been too many other things.
We've been kind of all over the place.
Joe Montana.
Do you want to know the definitive, the 100?
Peyton Manning is number one. That's definitive.
You want to know why Joe is
Peyton Williams Manning. Look, you can flow PWM.
Do you know why Joe is the greatest quarterback of all time?
Because you said so.
That's
If you smell
That's
what the Dave is cooking.
but it's not what I said. But John Madden said Joe Montana is the greatest quarterback to ever play.
I mean, that's hard to dispute that.
I don't know what
You know what I love about Joe Montana? Because I read another article about him because I was really getting into this stuff, and they had him picking like two QBs dueling it out.
Yeah,
And of course, you know how this is going to go. The final two that get picked.
Of course.
The final two, I don't remember which show he was on. The final two, of course.
Yeah.
It's Tom Brady and himself.
Yeah.
And of course, in the article it said, without hesitation, Joe Montana goes, well, of course I'm going with me.
Right.
The ultimate competitor. And I love it. I love it because that's how you have to be. I mean, that's what it takes. I mean, Tom Brady is one of the most competitive people. Peyton Manning, he was mad over the Pro Bowl, the flag football Pro Bowl game, and Peyton Manning.
He takes it seriously.
That was not for TV. He was legitimately mad because they did an illegal play in the flag football Pro Bowl, and he wanted a penalty to try to like either prolong the game or get the ball back. Because he was so mad over. I mean, you could tell like that's not him playing for the camera. He
was mad.
So all those guys, you got to have that edge. Same thing. Jordan. Nope. Michael Jordan's a killer.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant was a killer.
Yeah.
They're coming for you, your family, all the fans. They want to take your heart.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's what you have to be the best. Now you can still be a good human outside of that and do some good.
like Joe is.
Right.
And like Peyton is.
Right.
One of those guys is not.
Well,
one of those guys is a jackass.
And I think that's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Now that he's, I'm going to be interested.
Well, he's going to get like $400 million from Fox.
Yeah, 385 or whatever.
Yeah. God's sakes.
That's all. I mean, wow.
$500 million basically.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go well.
What's he going to, I mean.
I really don't. I think they're going to wish that they had kept Greg Olson. I think Fox they're going to keep him, but I think that Fox is going to wish that they had kept Greg Olson as the number one color commentator.
I think they're going to regret it. I think tomorrow
you'll see.
I think we'll, because like Greg Olson has gotten better. He's grown on me a little bit this year. And I think if he has a killer Super Bowl, I think that's going to be tough because Fox is real picky about their broadcasters, like they always have been.
I know,
and
they don't
like just throwing people in there.
I'm telling you, I think, and I think that's smart of Brady. Like how smart is this? I mean, for all the things, Tom Brady, but he's going to take the year and basically learn like how to do it right.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually really smart. Plus, he's also probably thinking, well, if Olson rocks this, it was going to be really hard to come in the next year after he's called an incredible Super Bowl and then just flip into being the guy. So there's going to be this year-long buffer before he kind of comes in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see.
But I think
Tom's personality is just pretty terrible. Like, I just don't see him. Joe tried to do this too. He didn't commentate a game, but he was on the pregame show in the AFC.
Right.
When NBC had the AFC, and he was awful at it. He was just terrible. Steve's much better because Steve's too smart for his own good.
It's just it's just different.
Yeah.
It's just different. Steve's kind of got that look. He's got the, before he started losing his hair a little bit, he's got the wavy hair.
Yeah.
He's got that great, just chiseled, better looking guy, chiseled, good looks.
Sure.
Got the personality, just got that humorous personality and he's ridiculously smart. I mean, Joe Montana's also ridiculously smart, but just a different application of that.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Young took the bar in California just to do it.
That's right.
He's like, he doesn't practice law, but he just said, I'm going to take the bar.
That's correct.
That's ridiculous.
Yes. I mean, that's it.
So and watching ESPN and everything, like, this week, and watching NFL Network and everything, I've decided that I'm going to create my own network. Okay. And it's going to be called the Dave Network.
The Dave.
And there's only going to be 3 people on it. It's Aaron Andrews, Carissa Thompson, and Kay Adams. And that's it. I don't even care what they talk about. They don't even talk about sports. I don't care. It's 24 hours of just them because I enjoy watching all 3 of them. And
apparently, Chris Thompson and Aaron Andrews are pretty tight friends.
Yeah, they're buddies. Yeah.
So there you go.
They
you could probably lure them with a lucrative contract.
Yeah.
They shared a what?
They shared a bit of a controversy together too. They both kind of had the same thing happen to them.
Oh,
a little bit different.
Oh, how about that?
Aaron's was the peephole, and Carissa's was the oops, you got access to my account sort of thing. But they both had stuff.
There you go.
I do believe Carissa's was a little more explicit, though.
Oh,
yeah. She talked about it. I saw an interview with her where she talked about it, and it was like pretty rough for her. But I think they actually bonded over that. Here I'm trying to qualify their friendship. I really don't care, but it's just they're 2 hot girls and they have a podcast together. But Kay Adams, I could watch that too. So I'm good with those 3 all day. Just I don't even care what they talk about.
But you know what's funny though? I mean, because Aaron Andrews has been around for a while.
She has.
I mean, I've always felt like she always seems very, very prepared. And I know, everybody's laughing at, but I'm serious.
No, I agree.
Like I've always felt that, and I think that also. Yes. Is she very attractive? Of course, because but you're not going to put a bunch of ugly looking.
Right.
Or dudes. You got to have a little bit. You got to have a little bit of some swagger. Steve Young's a good looking guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to have a little bit. You can't just put. Anyway, it is what it is. Bill Cowher, but people, it's kind of that older Bruce Willis kind of look type of thing,
It's the Tom Selleck of broadcasting.
I reckon it's something, but anyway, but the point being, I think part of that staying power is, just always very prepared. And again, I always felt like she seems to like actually just like you can tell she was prepared for whatever the moment is. I think Holly Rowe does a great job. And she's been around for forever.
Met her years ago.
Did you really? Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she's a cancer survivor. Which is really cool.
Super, very pleasant. In person, I can tell you, just the most pleasant person. Just super,
See, that's cool. And she's always prepared.
Well, and you would like Erin Andrews because she also graduated from the SEC.
SEC.
It just means more.
SEC.
It just does.
SEC.
I'm sorry for all the other conferences and all the other schools, and I apologize ahead of time that Florida State will likely be ranked in the top 5 when the season starts. I apologize ahead. They have no business being there. No business being there. Just a little university down there in Tallahassee. Who goes to Tallahassee?
Right.
Other
than Jen Starger,
right?
With how far sending her package. That's it.
The FSU. The Packers.
FSU.
Oh, he was with the Jets when he did that.
I know he was.
That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot.
He was with the Jets because she was up there. Anyway.
Yeah.
I kind of wish FSU's going to be in the top 5. They are, because this was the very too early top 5, and they're in there already.
Yeah.
I wish that it wasn't, because I want them to kind of come a little bit from the back.
Yeah.
And like run up, like maybe like 15th, something respectable, but then
Sure.
It's like, hey, look at this. I don't know. I feel like
As long as they don't get to number 1 or 2, because those slots are reserved.
That's right.
For SEC schools.
You dang right it is.
Right.
Every year.
They should have 2 top 25s, I think. Right? They should have the top 25 SEC teams. And then
SEC.
Don calls me. Don calls me like last week, and it's the first thing out of his mouth. Maybe it was this week. I said, yeah. He calls. And I said, hello, and he said he didn't say anything for a second. He goes, the SEC, man, it just means more. And I'm like, you suck. I
love you, Don. We've never met Don, but you the man.
Don's great.
But you the man. I mean, how many teams were in the top 6 of football at the end of the year?
I don't know. It's
3, 4, all of them. It was it.
It's whatever. Whatever.
Go Vols.
Where are they ranked now? They were number 2.
Man, we can't score.
Yeah.
They can't score. I mean, flipping and Vanderbilt, and it's Jerry Stackhouse, the coach, went to UNC. I can't stand Jerry Stackhouse. Man, they didn't rotate on D, shoot a 3-pointer at Vandy, and they beat us at Vandy by 1. Vanderbilt beat us. That's just suck. Oh my God, we can't score.
You guys were number 2.
We beat Auburn 49-46. Well, yeah, but we got beat.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll probably end up being like 6 or 7 again. We're gonna get put out in the Sweet 16. I'm so disgusted.
They're a good defensive team, though.
But you have to score, Dave. You still have to score
that somewhere.
Dadgum points.
I read that
right.
Somewhere.
You don't score until you score. I mean, come on. It's so bad. It's so bad. I'm so pissed because I mean they're good. We can talk about that next week. Okay, we got to go. We got to go. I love Coach. I love him, but damn, see, I did so good. That's the only bad word. I did so good.
You did great.
Telling you.
You did great.
Thank you, Canada. Thank you. Right. Thank you, Germany.
Hey, folks, this was episode 41.
41. For sure.
Head over to the website, DaveDoc041.com. That's DaveAndDoc.com, and you can...
Or just go to the SEC network. SEC.
Either way.
SEC.
If you see Paul Feinbaum, tell him I said hello.
Because it just means more.
Because it just means more. The Dave and Doc podcast, it just means more.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, folks.
See you next week.
Happy Super Bowl weekend. We'll see you next week.
Go Eagles. See you. Bye.